Hi everybody, my name is Hannah and this is Pepper and Pine, and I have a project to share with you today. We are using this book called Days of Knights and Damsels, an activity guide by Lori Carlson as inspiration for today's activity. We are going to be working on this project. It is a floral garland, and this is going to be an upcycling project for me. You're going to need some copper wire for this project as well as some floral pieces. I had these in a vase in our kitchen and I washed them in the washing machine because they were really dusty and I actually ruined them all. But that's okay, we can use them for today's garland project. I also have this beautiful silk ribbon from achildsdream.com. It is gorgeous and it's going to be the perfect accessory for this project. So I'm going to measure my copper wire so that it fits my daughter because this is a project for her. And my copper wire is 24 gauge, making it really lightweight. So I'm actually going to wind 2 or 3 pieces around itself in order to make it a little bit more sturdy and stable for this project. You could use a heavier gauge wire to begin with and just use one strand. So at this point, I want to cover the entire thing with some washi tape. I'm actually using washi tape rather than florist tape because I didn't have any. And so I decided just to go into my scrapbook stash and use some of those supplies. But I think that florist tape would work a little bit better. It would probably be a little bit more secure and it wouldn't tear. But overall, my washi tape worked great for this project. So now that it's completely covered in washi tape, all of those ends are nice and secure and they are not sharp. And so now I can work on my floral pieces, and some of them didn't have the wire attached anymore. So I just added my own copper wire and I used my hot glue gun to secure it in place. Now comes the fun part, and it could be a challenge, but that's deciding on how I want this garland to look. And I've got these 2 really large, beautiful floral pieces that I want as kind of an accent, either in the front of the garland or in the back. And I'm not quite sure, but in the end, I'm going to put it in the back. But to begin with, I decided just to make the garland work either way so that this dramatic piece could be right in the front of my daughter's forehead, or it could be in the back. To secure my copper wire, I'm just using a piece of the floral, like the backing, just to cover it, just to secure it in place. And I also want to make sure that it is really well secured on my copper wire. And so I'm going to do a figure 8 so that I can really secure it in place. And I'm going to go wrap it around back and forth several times just to make sure that it really stays in place and it doesn't fall off. You can also adhere it with some hot glue and a little piece of felt just to make sure that it stays in place in addition to the wire. I'm also going to cover all of those loose ends with a little bit of washi tape or floral tape. You just want to make sure there aren't any sharp edges since this is going to go onto a child's head. You want to make sure that it stays very safe and secure. So now that I have that main piece in place, now I can start to add the smaller pieces all around. These are floral pieces that I picked up from Pottery Barn many years ago, and I really like the quality of them. They've held up really well over the years. They even held up to being washed in the washing machine, which wasn't a good idea since I completely broke them, but they came out really nice and clean. They had not been dusted in years and they were in my kitchen, so they were really dirty, but one cycle in the washing machine and they came out like they were brand new, except for the fact that a lot of pieces did come apart, but with a little bit of hot glue and a little extra copper wire, you can't even tell that they were broken. All right, so I'm just going to keep adding these pieces all the way around, and luckily I had enough to go all the way around with just a couple left over, and I did try to kind of squeeze them in since I don't have any other projects with these. And now the last thing I want to do is add this beautiful green silk ribbon. It is just gorgeous. And I want to use all of it, but I want to kind of measure it so that it's just long enough to trail behind my daughter's head, not too long and not too short. And once I decide on the length, I just want to adhere it in place. And I'm going to use a little bit of ribbon in order to tie it off. This is from my scrapbooking stash, but it wasn't the most secure and it ripped, but it's still enough to keep it in place. And I'm going to hot glue that to the main large piece of the garland, and I'm going to secure it in place with just a little bit of felt just to make sure that it stays in place and doesn't get ripped off. So I'm just going to trim off that extra piece of string, and it's just about done. I just need to trim the silk ribbon because I did fold it over a couple of times and I want all of those pieces separated. And that's it. This was a really quick project, coming in at around 45 minutes to complete it from start to finish. And it looks fabulous on my daughter's head. She's modeling it here out in our front yard. I really like the way that this turned out, and I especially like that this was an upcycling project for me. Of course, you might need to go out and buy these supplies to begin with, but overall, this was a really quick, beautiful project to do. All right, so if you'd like to see some of the other projects in our Middle Ages unit, you can tap on the screen right now. If you want more information about this activity as well as other things that we've done with this unit, you can find them on my website at pepperandpine.com. If you want to see what we're up to on a daily basis, you can find me on Instagram at pepperandpine.